You're listening to Miss Style, Strength, and Grace with Deidre Murphy. This is your one-stop shop for style, fashion, health, and fitness. Deidre's passion is to help empower women to reach their fullest potential, both inside and out. Deidre and her guests will be discussing how to develop your style, health, and lifestyle hacks to energize your day and inspire you to keep reaching higher levels of success. Deidre is a professional fashion stylist, health guru, and Mrs. Washington 2017. It's time to get open and honest with Deidre.
Hello and welcome, listeners. I am incredibly honored to share today's guest because this is a very special episode of Miss Style, Strength, and Grace. I am opening it up to have my husband on. So we get questions asked all the time. How do we balance our crazy busy schedules and still manage to enjoy one another and keep a healthy, strong relationship? And anyway, I will let it open up to him because if you haven't followed my journey for a little bit of time now, I would love to have my husband introduce himself, share what he does, who he is. And what's crazy is even our schedules are so busy that right now we're recording this virtually. He's not even sitting right next to me. So hopefully he can tell you who he is and what he does. Go ahead.
All right. Thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah. So it is crazy how busy we are sometimes. And so, I'm here in the office. So I have a clinic. I'm a natural holistic health doctor, wellness expert, as they call me. But my background training is really as a chiropractor. And we help people with functional medicine and digestive issues and restoring their lifestyle and all kinds of stuff. But it's really just been a great journey. And it's awesome being able to help Deidre just change the direction she was headed with her health as well. And so we've got a lot of things going on as usual, but it's just great to help people. And that's what we're here today, hopefully to do, is to help some more people just get some better vision with their marriages and relationships. I know we don't have it all figured out, but hopefully we can shine some light on some cool things people can do to just improve.
That's right. We're coming up on about 6 years of marriage, and I still actually like him, just so you know. But when I was good. When I was kind of putting this out there into the world of like, what questions do people that are listeners want to know about? That question of like, how do you balance kept coming up. And in my opinion, there is no such thing as actual balance. You're never really able to have the scale on either way, but it's more about doing multiple things to help just keep your relationship as strong as possible. So I kind of came up with some questions to ask both Chris and I, and some of our answers may overlap. I don't know what his answers are. He doesn't know what mine are. So let's just dive in and let's just see how it goes.
I literally got these questions like 5 minutes ago. So.
Oh, shush. I gave them to you farther in advance than that. He's lying.
I looked at them finally.
So and the truth comes out, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so question number one is I want us to share our weekly habit that we do together that we feel like sets us up for success throughout the week. So I'll let you go first, babe.
Yeah, so I think the biggest habit that we have that sets us up for success is really our schedules and going through our schedules on a Sunday before the chaos really hits. Obviously, you're doing your thing, I'm doing my thing, and we do things together, obviously, as well. But it's just like right now. I mean, we had to coordinate this to make sure that this could work, and it took some last-minute planning as well. But just being able to sit down together without any interruptions and to be able to go over our calendar, figure out how we can support each other for whatever it is that we have going on that week so that we know that what we're doing. So that, hey, you can have dinner ready for me if I need it, or if I can have dinner ready for you because you're going to be out late one week, or how can we support that and understanding what that person's going through, if it's a stressful week for them, if it's not too bad of a week, because we have some freedom to do some other things, and then we can just be as supportive as possible. And I think it just helps kind of de-stress the week going into it, helps us plan, and it really doesn't take very much time. It literally takes, maybe less than 5 minutes to do, but man, it can save you hours of heartache during the week and frustration. So you're not frustrated with each other either. Like, hey, you told me you didn't tell me you're gonna do that, or that's huge.
Absolutely. It's funny. It is the same answer that I came up with, and I liken it to the days when I was teaching. So kids are the same as adults in a lot of ways. And if my classroom, if I was going to start out the day, I would go through our schedule for that day of what we're going to do. And it just really helped relieve my kids, a classroom full of 30 kids. That way they knew what was coming up. Like that way I didn't constantly get asked, well, when is PE? When is PE today? They knew it was on the schedule. And it's the same thing for our relationship. You know, last week I had a friend come over actually kind of for an extended coffee session, and he knew that my friend was coming over, and he was sweet enough and he was like, I'll take care of dinner that night. That way you can just really connect with your friend that you haven't seen in months. So just kind of front loading your week and scheduling it out. And even just like you said, like coordinating things, coordinating dinners, time together, date nights. That's an important one, is having a date night. So kind of putting that in the calendar and putting that as a big rock. So I think we had the same answer.
Well, I think there's a lot of things in that too, because the other aspect of that is, in conjunction, is having shared access to each other's calendars. You know, that's huge. So I don't remember everything that you told me you were going to do this week.
What?
So, I know, right? And
oh my
gosh.
What
I do today for the rest of the day, but that's why I have calendars, and that's probably the OCD part of me. But you know, when you have that calendar, and I can look and see what you're doing, so that I know that I'm not disturbing you if you're maybe with a client or whatever it is you're doing, that I know when I can contact you if I need to. And then the other aspect too is we can change things on the fly if we need to, kind of like today, because we had a certain time picked out, but then life happened, it didn't work out, and we had to fit this into like a half-hour slot that was tough to get into, but we wouldn't have known that if we wouldn't have been looking at each other's calendars, and we could just coordinate. And I think that's what's really important for people to understand, is you don't have to be perfect when it comes to calendars and coordinating things with each other, and you don't have to remember everything for that week. But just having like that discussion, that little powwow, because some things change right there, and then some things just change on the fly, and being okay and open to that, and understand that this life happens.
Yeah, absolutely. So we just use the calendar, Google Calendar, and it's an app, and that way he has access to mine, I have access to his. Everything I put in there, like even if it's just, hey, I'm going to call my mom at 3:00 on Friday afternoon, like I put that in my calendar so he knows what's going on. Okay, my next question was, what are your favorite ways we choose to have fun together and be intentional with the time that we do have together? So
I'm going to let you start with that one.
Oh, dang it. I was hoping you were going to go first.
Yeah, I bet.
Honestly, this is probably not going to surprise you. It might surprise some of my listeners, but I just love being a freaking weirdo goofball. So some of my favorite dates or times with you have been literally when we act like small children. So what I mean by that is when we go to the what's it called? The trampoline park. And we bounce around like 16-year-olds, and you're challenging the 16-year-olds to a dunk contest, or you're pelting little kids with a dodgeball, that kind of stuff. Like just being like really big kids and honestly dorks. Those are some of my favorite ways to have fun with you. And then to kind of conjunction with that, when we do travel, we travel a lot, but one of my favorite things to do is to kind of explore cities in an active way. So when I look back to our trip that you and I took together to Paris, one of my most fun memories was every morning just getting up and running around the Palace of Luxembourg and seeing the sights, seeing the history there while being active at the same time with you. Like that's part of my favorite way to have fun with you. So now it's your turn. You can't say trampoline park.
Darn it. I think there's two different forms of really having fun with each other too. There's the aspect of doing things with each other and then doing things with groups as well. And I think that's a good dynamic to have. And I like doing both of those things with you, because I like seeing how you interact with other people, or just seeing you have fun with, your other girlfriends and things like that, or things we can do as a group that we couldn't do just by ourselves either. So, I mean, one of the things I do like to do, I think is really fun, is when we have our nephews. I think it gets back to doing some of that kid stuff now, right? So like when we go to the go-kart races with them, or we take them to the carnival or the fair, or we're just, out, playing in the pool with them, whatever. Those are always fun things. And then also too, the traveling. I love traveling with you. And so it's always different when you're traveling by yourself and then when you have that partner, because it's like experience more things with each other. You can have those experiences in places that we've never eaten because we would both like to go out and do foodie things, right? And so just having you along with those trips, even if they're business trips, but you're there with me too, is always a fun thing. I know they can't always happen, but I think that's a really great way to just have intentional fun with each other, even when we're business.
Why do you think it's important to have fun with your spouse?
Because we can't take each other too seriously. Right? I feel sometimes, we can get caught up in our day-to-day lives and our agendas and having things maybe ready for each other or prepared for each other or just doing our own things in our own niches in our lives and just kind of regrounding each other and like, hey, why'd you fall in love with me in the first place, right? Because I'm so funny and entertaining, right? Whatever that, you know what I mean? But it's just having that reconnection. I think it's just a good way to reconnect, reground ourselves, and understand that we're not, taking each other too seriously, and that marriage is fun, the journey is fun, and enjoying it as we go.
Well, I heard this on a podcast recently, so I'm not responsible for coming up with it, but the saying is that you should pursue your spouse the same way you did when you were pursuing the relationship. So, thinking back to the dates that we had, the things that we did with each other when we were newly dating, and just having that pursuit of fun with one another, like incorporating that into marriage as well. So I think that's really important.
Absolutely.
So this one I get asked a lot, especially from women that I meet at networking events and things like that. But what is the best way to help each other stay healthy and accountable to one another, not just nutritionally, but even physically, and staying healthy together? So since I went first last time, I think it's your turn.
Well, this is a kind of a double-edged sword, I think, because it depends what you're talking about. Because when it comes to spouses keeping each other maybe accountable, physically fit, healthy, all those kind of things, is a different dynamic than if it's just your friend or somebody you go to the gym with, it's a workout partner. Because let's face it, whether we admit it or not, we don't like to take advice from our spouses as much as we take it from someone else when it comes to things that we don't want to improve about ourselves.
I don't know what you're talking about. I take everything you say 100% as truth.
You viewers, listeners know that that's so true. Like, you could tell your spouse something and it's right. Like, hey, you should eat more good, healthy fats because it's going to help your body function better. And then they'll say like, oh, yeah, whatever. And then literally like a day later, they come back to you and like, hey, guess what? Dr. You should eat more fats. I'm going to start eating more fats. And I went and bought a bunch of Costco-sized bag avocados today. And you're like, yeah, that's what I've been trying to tell you. But sometimes it's just easier to take that advice from someone else. And so I think the biggest thing that we can get into the rut with is trying to push things on our spouses instead of just like moving along with them. So there's a difference between pushing somebody and accountability and then just bringing them along with you. For example, Deidre really doesn't like it when we're working out if I'm like a drill sergeant and I'm like, hey, you got, like, come on, get after it, you got this. Like, she does not respond well from me for that. Now, if it was someone else, she might respond okay to that. But really, I've learned, like, okay, what does she respond to? And when we're working out together. So the best thing we can do is really just, like, work out together, like work out at the same times, even if we're not doing the same workout, but we're just there together. It really helps keep me accountable. This is more keeping me accountable than you, Deidre, because you have a lot better work ethic when it comes to the gym than I do. But like, it helps me stay accountable just seeing you work out, and then I'm working out in the same gym as you, and that's like really important there. Just having someone that you can lean on that's not going to be a jerk about it or push you or make you feel bad or make you feel less than, but just maybe participating with you, eating the same foods that maybe you do, not trying to be difficult when it comes to dinner time, not being difficult when it comes to the gym. All those things are important.
Absolutely. I mean, I think all of those things are the same answer that I would come up with. And then I would just add on to that and say that you need to just support one another. I've seen so many times where a woman is trying to start her own health journey, trying to lose weight, trying to get on board with that, But then she's like, I don't know what to cook now because my husband just wants to eat like garbage. And so now I have to cook 2 separate meals. I don't have the time or energy to do that. So I'll just cook the bad food because that way he'll eat. And I'm like, sister, you got to pick yourself off the floor and do your own thing. And if he's on board with supporting you, great. If he wants to eat what you prepared, great. If he doesn't, he's got 2 hands. He can cook his own damn meal. Sorry, not sorry, but like, I'm just so thankful that you are completely supportive. And if I make something that's super ketogenic, for dinner, and it's low carb, you may want more carbs and I might cook those separately for you. But if it's a completely low carb dinner, you're like, this is great. I love it. And then if you're still hungry afterwards, you find your own thing. You'll maybe make some nachos or something if you want. I mean, granted, all organic and grass-fed beef, clearly. But you're a big boy, and I think just helping women, and specifically that's my audience, knowing that their husband, their spouse is a big boy too. And you've got to help yourself first in order to get your spouse on board with helping and going that same route. And I think sometimes we get so caught up in like, oh, well, if they don't, then I can't. But like, if you want your spouse to be on board with what you're doing, like, help yourself first. And then your energy and that drive will overflow and they'll see that and they'll be like, I want what she's having. Can I have some?
Absolutely.
So I know that was a long way to answer that question, but we got a couple more. So what is your favorite habit? And this could be a little bit of a shorter one. What's your favorite habit that you look forward to every day that we do?
What habit do we have? I think I know what you're going to say, so I'm going to try to pick a different one, just so we have a little bit of variation, because I know we have like minds think alike. I'd probably say one of the things is, because we don't really see each other in the morning, so we don't have like really morning habits, except for on the weekends. But during the week, I'm usually up and out before you leave or before you get up and whatnot. I'd probably say it's probably just chilling with each other, just taking the time to relax, maybe watch, maybe some episode or whatever it is we're watching at that moment. Maybe even, this isn't something we do every time, but like if I get you out into the hot tub and just relaxing like with that, I like, that's one of my favorite things as well. And just like being able to share, in those moments too, just being able to share our days, because I think you're going to understand what Deidre's about to tell you, because I have a feeling I know what hers is going to be. We've already had a chance to talk about our days and unload and all that kind of stuff and connect. And so it's a different type of connection. I mean, I don't recommend like, hey, get home and be in front of a screen and don't pay attention to your spouse, not at all. But at that point, like even if we're watching TV at that moment with each other, like we're disconnected or try to disconnect from other things like texting, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. So, hey, we can discuss what's going on the film or what we're enjoying about that. Or if we want to stop and pause it because we want to talk about something, we do that. So that's mine.
I love that. Well, and two, we always do that kind of like screen time if we are watching something, like after, like you said, we've unloaded our day, we've chatted. So that does lead to what my favorite thing is, and I actually do look forward to this. He was the one that instigated it, and it's our wins for the day. We call it our 3 wins for the day. If there was something kind of negative of the day that we need to unload and unpack, we start with that. So that way we always end on a positive note of like, hey, at the end of the day, at least I accomplished these 3 things today. Sometimes the win of the day is like, I slept last night. Like I got, 8 hours of sleep last night. Like that for me is a win. Or I got a workout in. Like that's my win. Sometimes it's like, hey, I closed such and such a deal today and, wrote this and that. But we call it our wins. And for me, it just gives me something to like really push forward to, because I know like, hey, I've got to come up with 3 things I accomplished today. By the time Chris gets home at 7, what are they going to be like? Oh, I didn't finish that. I better finish that up really quick so I can share my 3 wins of the day.
Well, it's so important too to not come home like from work and then just dump on your spouse all the bad shit that happened, and it's like, hey, saying, so I mean, we have this rule where we'll like hey, if there's something you really need to get out and frustration, hey, let it out. But don't ever still let that be the first thing that you unload with your spouse. Like the first thing we do, I come home, hey babe, great to see you, love you, give each other a hug and a kiss. And then I try to at least say like one thank you for something, like, hey, thanks for getting dinner started, or hey, you look beautiful, or something. And then you usually instigate like, hey, what were your 3 wins? And So if there's something I do need to get off my chest, it's maybe not in the most positive light, but just, hey, something you just got to vent or get some constructive criticism on something, we do that. And then we always finish on those 3 wins, which is really important too. So that's key. It's not dumping stuff on your spouse. It definitely not be the negative thing when you first see them.
Yeah. Think of it as a constructive Oreo. Start with something good. If you need something bad, you put it in the middle, and then you always end on a positive note. So I've got one last question, and I'm kind of curious to find out what yours is. So maybe we should answer this for each other. I don't know. But the question is, what are some ways you choose to show love in unexpected, like little ways to each other?
So you want me to go first on this one?
Sure. Why not?
Okay. So I think this is really important to understand people's love languages, because it's not going to land like you want it to land if it's really not their love language. So I know that one of Deidre's love languages is words of affirmation. So one of the things that I'll do, and I do this all the time, but just to surprise it and make it random, is I'll make messages on her mirror, because I know that's where she gets ready in the morning. So I'll get out a dry erase marker, and I'll write some kind of message on there for her, just to encourage her, uplift her, speak confidence into her. And hey, I know that always lands well with her, because he always appreciates that. And I mean, who wouldn't like getting told how amazing they are? And this helps her start the day better, and it just it goes a long way. So that's one of the favorite things I like to do, because I like to get the responses back too, like how, you know, she texts me or whatever. It's just like, oh yeah, good, she feels good, that's great. Like, so it helps fill my love bucket too, even though that's not my main form of love.
Oh, well, I was going to say that. I was going to say that my favorite ways that you show me love are those little things, whether you write like a little note and you leave it somewhere, or leave me your extra smoothie in the fridge in the morning. I do always love that. But yeah, the messages on the mirror are some of my favorite little surprises. And he doesn't do it all the time, but that's what makes it special. I think too, going back to the love language thing, one of his biggest love languages is acts of service. And so I love to show him my love by doing things for him. So it is so important for me, and this just comes down to my personality and knowing how I want to show him love, is I love to make sure that I can make him dinner. He's usually gone from the house all day, and to me that just shows him like, hey, I know that your time is precious, and I want to support you and feed you and nutrition. No, what's the word I'm looking for? Nourish. Thank you. Nourish you, you know, from the inside out as well. And granted, if there's a night where I'm going to be out late, you know, we'll swap and he'll make dinner, and that goes back to the calendar thing. But I just love to do that kind of thing. Or for instance, the other week, he was out of town all weekend at a conference, and Sunday, when I knew I was going to have to pick him up, I was like, well, I want to really make sure the house is all nice and picked up and clean. Not that it was crazy messy, but, you know, made sure there was no dishes in the sink or anything like that, just so he didn't have to come home and feel like, wow, I was gone all weekend and the house is a mess. So showing those little like acts of service to one another, I think is one of the ways I try to feed into your love language.
No, absolutely. I love the acts of services. It is one of my main ones, and so you do a great job with that. And, you know, it's just doing little things for people that you care about. And I think the biggest thing is understanding that you're trying to serve people. And this is something I struggle with the most, but it's something that comes down to having the best relationship. It's not about what you can get from the other person, but, hey, I'm here to serve this person. And that's my whole goal, is to serve Deidre. And sometimes I lose track of that. Like, I'm not always perfect at it. And sometimes the me, because that's how we're really genetically altered, is to like be about us. We're all narcissists at the most core state, and it just to back out and just say, whoa, wait a second, like, okay, am I really giving everything to Deidre? Am I complaining about taking out the garbage, or am I looking at it as serving Deidre? And it makes it easier, and it makes it more fulfilling, and it makes for better communication, better marriage, and everything else that goes along with that.
I love it. Well, listeners, I hope you enjoyed some of the ways that we choose to show up and have a happy, healthy, and stronger marriage with one another. And like I said, I wanted to share this because it's coming up on Valentine's Day, so it's the month of love. So anyway, if you love this, quick, Chris, can you tell women where they can actually follow you and learn more about what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can go to my podcast, which is Happy Healthy Hormones with Dr. Chris. It's on Stitcher, Google Play, all that good stuff, iTunes. That's probably one of the easiest ways. And then we're just relaunching a new website, so you could actually go to thedrchris.com. Probably won't be up to relaunch that for about another month, but you can at least connect with me through that, or even Facebook at Dr. Chris Murphy, or even at our clinic, which is New Edge Wellness Center. So check that out. Awesome.
Well, I'm fine if they stalk you in all the healthy ways, but otherwise, back off, ladies. He's mine. All right. Bye, babe. Love ya.
Bye.
Hey ladies, thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoyed today's episode. To help empower more women, please be a doll and rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. For show notes and other free resources we mentioned today, go to stylebydeidre.com.